Today, we're doing a deep dive into, well, a really urgent situation. It's unfolding in one of the world's most stunning natural areas, South Africa's Garden Route. We're specifically zeroing in on the Milkwood Forest near Sedgefield. Imagine this. A young gymnogene, that's the African harrier hawk, carefully probing the ancient crevices of these incredible milkwood trees. Or maybe you hear the trilling call of a nasal warbler. Beautiful, right? But that whole picture, it might be becoming just a memory. So this deep dive is about unpacking a crucial message. It comes from someone who knows this ecosystem intimately, someone who's seen its beauty and, sadly, its decline.
Yeah, and that voice is Birdwatcher. It's an organization, but it's also very much driven by the passion of Ben Fouche. We're drawing heavily today from his article, A Plea for the Forest Birds Disappearing Milkwood Forest. And Ben, he's not just, someone writing about it. He's deeply involved. He's a BirdLife South Africa preferred tour operator and guide, also a registered national tour guide for nature and culture. So he really understands this place. His dedication just comes through so clearly in this plea.
Okay, so our mission for you listening today is pretty clear. We're going to try and get under the skin of this crisis unfolding in, frankly, a breathtakingly beautiful place. We'll look at the threats to the wildlife there and what Birdwatcher thinks needs to happen. And it's important to say this isn't just about birds, is it? It touches on the community, the whole ecosystem, preserving this natural legacy. So to really get what's at stake, let's start with the beauty. Birdwatcher describes this milkwood forest around Sedgefield so vividly. What details really bring it to life for you?
Oh, it's incredibly evocative. Ben Fouche's writing really puts you there. He talks about these ancient milkwood trees, some of them, 300 years old, just standing there like sentinels. And they're the foundation, really, home to amazing birds. He mentions a juvenile gymnogene, the harrier hawk, the way it probes for food in the bark. And of course, that nasal warbler, its call is like the signature sound of the place. It's just a snapshot of this incredibly rich, unique biodiversity that depends entirely on those old trees.
It sounds absolutely idyllic, a real treasure. But then, almost immediately, Birdwatcher raises this huge red flag. Ben Fouche says this area, which is supposed to be protected, is under relentless attack. And apparently it's been going on for over a decade, but it's gotten much, much worse in the last 5 years, a rapid decline. What really strikes you about the scale of this attack that Birdwatcher outlines?
That's a really good point. The fact it's escalated so dramatically is alarming. Birdwatcher is very clear about the main drivers. First, there's illegal squatting, a huge issue. Ben reports these squatters cause significant damage, and he mentions they're sometimes, and this is his phrase, backed by enabling politicians. So it's complicated. It's not just a few individuals. It feels like a more organized encroachment.
Right, that suggests a systemic problem, not just random acts. What other kinds of destruction are happening?
Well, alongside the encroachment, there's straightforward deforestation. Those amazing old milkwood trees, the 300-year-old ones we just talked about, they're being cut down. And you ask why? Birdwatcher says it's for, well, what he calls trivial gains, like a scrap of honey. It's just heartbreaking, trading centuries of natural heritage for almost nothing.
Wow. A 300-year-old tree for a bit of honey. That's stark. So it's squatting, tree felling, and also just general environmental damage. What's the state of the forest floor, the environment itself?
Yeah, it's a grim picture, honestly. The report talks about severe degradation. People have carved illegal paths right through the forest and the dunes. And these paths, Birdwatcher says, are just littered with heaps of rubbish. It's not just messy, it's polluting a supposedly protected area. And what makes it worse, Ben points out, is that local authorities have apparently promised to clean this up for 10 years. 10 years. And nothing's happened. Unfulfilled promises. And on top of that, you've got unchecked sewage lines leaking into the forest. Imagine the smell, the pollution. He talks about the stench of waste. It affects everything, the wildlife, the air, the community. It's an assault on so many levels.
That paints a truly awful picture, and the immediate impact on the animals. Birdwatcher's observations are tough to read. He mentions species just disappearing, like bushbuck. They're a type of antelope used to be common there. Now Ben says they're likely gone. He even found and had to dismantle traps set for them. So direct poaching threats too.
Exactly. And it's not just direct human action. Birdwatcher also highlights roaming dog packs from the dunes. These aren't wild dogs native to the area. These are domestic dogs, presumably from nearby settlements, and they're killing and upsetting the fragile harmony. They hunt ground-nesting birds, small mammals, putting huge pressure on an ecosystem that just isn't equipped for that kind of predation. So you have this, perfect storm. Habitat destruction, deforestation, pollution, poaching, and invasive predators. It's a complex mess threatening this whole area.
Okay, so with all these pressures converging, what are the specific stakes for the birds? This is a plea for the forest birds, after all.
The stakes are incredibly high, particularly for the birds that make this place special. Ben Fouché specifically lists some of the garden route's most iconic species. You've got the Naisna turruco, that really vibrant bird with the crest, the Naisna woodpecker, vital for forest health, the Naisna warbler, whose call we mentioned its presence indicates a healthy habitat, also the chorister robinchat, known for its song, and the African wood owl. He says very directly they face a terrible situation without urgent action. Their survival in this specific forest is really hanging in the balance. Losing them will be a massive blow to the region's biodiversity.
That's a heavy warning, and I can feel the urgency in Birdwatcher's writing. But he stresses, doesn't he, that while birders obviously treasure these species, losing them would ripple far beyond birders. It's not just about a hobby list, it's a regional tragedy. What does that mean exactly? How does it hit the wider ecosystem, the community, the garden route's identity?
Precisely. Birdwatcher is clear. This isn't just, something for online arguments or complaining about noise. This is a tangible threat to a living natural legacy that benefits the whole region. When these key species vanish, it's not just an empty space on a checklist, it destabilizes the whole ecosystem. Think about food webs, seed dispersal, insect control. These birds play roles. Losing them affects the forest's health. And beyond that, the garden route is its nature, its identity, its tourism appeal, local pride, the ecotourism economy. It's all tied to this unique biodiversity. That damages the region's future economically, culturally, ecologically. It affects everyone.
Right. It really underscores the true cost if nothing changes. So, faced with this stark situation, what does Birdwatcher suggest? Ben Fouché says quite plainly, the solution rests with us, the community that loves this land, puts the responsibility right back on people.
Absolutely. And the call to action that follows is just as direct. Ben calls for bold, united efforts to preserve our natural legacy. It's not about passive worry. It's a call for active, collective work. He's essentially saying the power to turn this around is there, within the community that values this place.
And that translates into concrete actions for people listening, for the wider community. Birdwatcher asks everyone to join me in spreading the word, share this post, and demand protection for Sedgefields dunes, Milkwood Forest, and wildlife.
Yeah.
It's not just clicking share, is it? It's about making noise, holding authorities accountable, ensuring those promises made over the last decade are finally acted upon, making it impossible to ignore.
Exactly. That call for bold, united efforts means turning that concern into real pressure. Sharing online helps, but it's about understanding that your voice, added to others, can make a difference. It can influence policy, get resources allocated. When a community really stands up together, politicians find it harder to ignore these crucial local environmental battles. It's about being active citizens protecting our shared natural world.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, bring it back to you, our listener. What does this story from Birdwatcher, this plea from the Milkwood Forest, really mean? It makes you think, doesn't it? What's our shared responsibility for protecting these vital places, even if they're far away? And maybe, how can this story inspire us to look at our local green spaces and make sure they're safe?
Yeah, it really highlights that these local environmental fights, like the one in Sedgefield, they aren't isolated. They have bigger implications. They're part of this interconnected web. And they absolutely need communities to get actively involved. It's a powerful reminder that we need to be vigilant and we need to act together to protect these natural treasures.
And if this story has grabbed you, if you want to know more about the garden route and Birdwatcher's work, there are some fantastic resources available.
Definitely. You should visit www.birdwatcher.co.za. That's their website. It's absolutely packed with great stuff. There are stunning picture galleries, video galleries. They have virtual hotspots you can explore online, detailed trip reports. It's brilliant for everyone, really, whether you're a keen bird photographer, a serious birder, or a twisher, or even families or schools looking for, educational material about the amazing local wildlife. There's something there.
And to keep up with the latest, Birdwatcher has a newsletter, Get Birding Highlights in your inbox. It sends out the newest trip reports, rare bird alerts, photo highlights, news from the field. We'd really recommend you join our newsletter and be the first to know what's flying in, and also get updates on the conservation side of things.
And of course, if you want the full immersive experience, you can actually book a birding trip on the garden route with Birdwatcher. Experience the place firsthand. Hopefully see that Milkwood Forest, see those resilient birds for yourself. It's a chance to connect with nature in a really profound way.